Hey you guys, it's Amy from Amy Says So. How you doing? So today I'm going to talk to you about dry January for runners and triathletes and why you may or may not want to take this on as a personal experiment for yourself. Are you ready? Let's do it! So the purpose of this video is 100% totally to just share with you my experience in this experiment. How in the world do you think this relates to triathloning? I really kind of think that triathletes and runners treat themselves almost like experiments when it comes to food and things like that. So I think it relates to triathlon, in my opinion, in that if you're one of those people who has tried being vegan, maybe you've tried cutting out dairy, maybe you've done paleo, maybe you've tried keto, any of those things, if those are the type of experiments you're doing, maybe you're curious about dry January and whether or not this is something you would like to try. This is totally just my personal experience. I am in no way, shape, or form providing any sort of advice. I am not qualified at all to talk about recovery or substance abuse or anything. This is just something I did and I thought I would share my experience with you. So if you are curious about recovery, I have interviewed a guy whose name is Todd Crandall on the Mile After Mile podcast. His group is Racing for Recovery and he does incorporate triathlon into recovery. So if you're curious about recovery and that he is a guy, you can visit that on the podcast. I'll link to it in the notes below. Dry January is just an arbitrary time where you just by yourself, you don't sign up, you don't commit to anything, you don't do any programs. You just say to yourself, like, all right, for January, I'm not gonna have any alcohol. Why January? I don't know, I didn't come up with this. I did this for the first time because a friend was doing it and he mentioned it and it sounded like a good idea to me. Part of the reason for me is definitely that in my life, October through January is like really busy, full of parties, full of food, and by the time I get to January, I am ready to go without. When it comes to the world of challenges, a month is a really good time. It's pretty long, so there's plenty of time to figure out and ask yourself lots of questions. It requires pretty good resolve, but it's not like a forever commitment. Some of the really good things about dry January that people talk about include less anxiety, better sleep, smoother, easier mornings. A lot of people lose weight. I didn't, but a lot of people do lose weight. I've done dry January 2 times, and the first year I definitely was very aware of those benefits. It was really nice to have a month of very solid sleep. The second year, that difference wasn't as profound, and I think it's just because I knew it was coming. I did sleep really well. Love sleep. Love sleep. Sleep is like the greatest thing. So let's talk about weight loss. A lot of people lose weight in dry January. I don't lose weight. I really did hope I was gonna lose weight. I'd love to lose a little bit of weight. I'm not like somebody who's obsessing about it, but it was one of those benefits that was out there that was like, oh, that would be great if I lost a little weight. Okay, so I mentioned that this was the second time I've done this. I also mentioned that the daily differences were not quite as profound an impact on my life because I knew they were coming. This second time around, I did get to do a lot more kind of thinking about my relationship with booze, my relationship with alcohol, and what I think about it and what it means to me. I did read a book about alcohol and recovery during January while I was doing this. It's called The Naked Mind by Annie Grace. It's a really highly recommended book. She is telling the story of her personal recovery, which didn't totally jive with me because that was not what I was doing. She goes big into details about alcohol and how it chemically affects your body and how it chemically affects your brain, which was very interesting to me. This matches up a lot with how I have gone into thinking about food in my life. The way I think about food, which definitely relates to training for triathlon, and is I really try and focus on what does food do for me? Like, why am I eating and putting these things into my body? When I was reading this book and she's drilling it home that booze is really a poison that we put into our body and what it does to our body and how it alters our brain, that did speak to me and really make me question, like, what was the reason that I would do this? When I look at food, I think about what is this food gonna do for me? Why am I eating this food? But You guys, I've always had a caveat in my relationship to food, which is that joy and pleasure and socialization, that's enough of a reason. If you invite me over to your house and you make me a homemade lasagna or a homemade birthday cake, I'm gonna eat that cake, I'm gonna eat that lasagna, and I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna enjoy it, and I'm really gonna allow myself the pleasure of the food. So putting something in my body for the purpose of pleasure is okay with me. But then you got the second thing that she wraps around, which is that it's a poison. We know it's a poison. And the only thing it does is alter our brain. So if we are drinking alcohol because we want to have a good experience, and then we think we have a good experience, but we know that its only purpose is to alter our brain, then are we actually having a good experience? This is like sort of a mind meld kind of thing. It's a rabbit hole that you can go down a long time. And I'm not gonna tell you where to go or how to do it, because it really is a personal journey. And the whole purpose, as I started with Dry January, is self-exploration. So you can try it or not and think about it or not. You can read the book or not. These are all your choices. So this video might be a little bit weird because I feel like I should have some sort of huge, dramatic conclusion, like swearing off something for good or some big dramatic revelation that I made over my month, but I didn't. That's it. My name is Amy. I'm the blogger at Amy Says So and the host of the Mile After Mile podcast. Thank you for watching, and until next time, may the wind always be at your back, and I'll see you at the starting line.